What is up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. Today it is the start of the countdown of the final games of the EFL this season, and it is officially playoff mania. We have got some playoff games to start predicting, and we're going to cover the whole spectrum of playoff games within the EFL today. We're going to break down the Championship and League One in two separate halves of the video and predict those in detail. But whilst I predict my Premier League predictions, which will be on the screen right now, you'll also see there are some sneaky little predictions that I'm sneaking in there as well, including my predictions for the League 2 playoffs. And I'm also going to be predicting what I think will happen in the National League playoff final between Notts County and Chesterfield. There's so much on the line this weekend, and it's only just getting started with the top EFL leagues, and I cannot wait to break it down. This will eventually see what teams we will see in all the EFL leagues next year. So this will be the official conclusion starting from now in terms of this season, and it's been a really enjoyable season with you guys. Now, Prediction League for the Championship is officially over, so this video's prediction is just for fun. You can predict the playoff games if you like. I'm going to still predict them just for a little bit of fun. You guys can do so as well, and you can probably get a little bit of bragging rights if you guys are correct. But in terms of the Prediction League winner, in case you had not seen my latest review video where I announced the winner of the Championship Prediction League, the winner has gone to Charlie Brown, and he was leading for quite a fair bit. It was pretty much a two-horse race in all honesty between him and Wallace and Gromit Fan, but it was Charlie who won by 4 points. I managed to break the 300-point mark in my predictions and get third place, and I need to see how many points I amassed in my previous years, because personally I think when you get over 300 points for predictions, it's not that bad. So I need to look back and see if I actually did a bad job this year. I felt like probably the competition was just extra intense, which I think is what led me to not win in the end. But congratulations to you, Charlie. I'm going to see if I can get something sorted with you. I'll be able to sort out on DMs to see if I can get something sorted. Right, so let's not waffle on, otherwise this will be another video that reaches 1 hour long. If you guys like what you see, please smash the like button. It really does help the growth of this channel when you do that. Please hit the subscribe button and liking this video. All these things really do help, and please share the channel too. All these things help as well. But without any further ado, we've got a lot of games to cover. Let's start off actually with the Championship playoff predictions first. We'll start off at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland versus Luton Town, 6th versus 3rd. This, I think, is going to be an epic game. Both previous encounters were 1-1 draws. Now, obviously, with Luton, I think with the first meeting at least, they had Nathan Jones as their manager. So, particularly, we can kind of write off that first encounter there, but their most recent encounter was indeed at the Stadium of Light when it happened. So I think with this game, we're going to see two very different styles come to play. And what I saw a lot of the time with both of these clubs is that they both execute their game plans to a T, and both can handle with the pressure as well. I think the slight advantage Luton have had is that they've secured their position in the table for quite a while now. They were able to rotate and rest a couple of players in their last couple of game weeks after getting a great result against Middlesbrough recently. Sunderland, however, had to be at their very best to chase down that final playoff place. But fair play to them for keeping that belief and always believing they can get there. Now, it's very interesting this. Now, I was correctly called out in my last video that I said that Stadium of Light was a fortress. And whilst the atmosphere had made it seem like a fortress, they had not been getting results there. It's been their away form, which I've been quite correctly incorrect in terms of what I was reasoning with Sunderland. It was been their away form which has carried them into the top 6, and that interests me, to be honest. And you've got Luton as well, who actually are a team containing the second best away league. Well, I mean, Burnley are the only team who've picked up more away points. So both teams are really good on their travels, so that will make things very interesting here. Now, it's Sunderland at home first. Luton have been very typical of getting a 1-0 away victory, and with their physical strikers and the way that they like to play their direct football, it concerns me that Sunderland have not got many of their first choice defenders available. But what could help Sunderland is if they continue the way that they are, which is the continuous attacking down the wings. I especially saw against Preston how good Jack Clark was. Oh my gosh, he's such a talent. Pritchard and Roberts will play key parts in their game as well, and Amad Diallo is having the season of his life right now. So we've got options all around the pitch for Sunderland who can pop in and, you know, potentially get something. But let's not brush aside with Luton with the fact they've got the likes of Adebayo up front, and there's just so many experienced heads. Sunderland have won their League One playoffs, so they know how to win a playoff campaign now. Luton have been in the playoffs of the Championship last year, so they know, both squads know how to set up for a playoff, and they know the stakes. So I think this will be a really close encounter here. As a prediction, typically with first leg games, I feel for most of the time, especially when it's two very competitive teams where both have, you know, have held the longest winning streaks going into this game as well. And Luton's unbeaten run stretches to 14 matches. That is insane for any team to accomplish that. And I feel like both these teams will try and extend that streak even more. So generally what that means is that I think they'll cancel each other out. But I think it'll be an extent of a 0-0 draw. I don't see many goals, and I think for most first leg playoff games, they all take a while to get cooking. It's when the second leg takes place, when they know that time is running out, teams start getting a little bit more open, just wanting to avoid either extra time or a shootout. So I feel like Sunderland will actually not mind too much with a 0-0 draw at the Stadium of Light, bearing in mind for how strong their away record is. So I'll go for a 0-0 draw. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Last Championship playoff game to predict is Coventry versus Middlesbrough. Now, we recently literally just predicted them. You know, they played against each other last game and they are going back once again. So I feel like Middlesbrough and Coventry are going to get quite sick of each other after this week. So, going into this game, we saw Middlesbrough practically confirm their place already in the table. They knew they were going to get fourth, so they had the advantage of, you know, resting a couple of players, extending their team a little bit. Coventry obviously had an advantage, but even with that, you know, their playoff position wasn't entirely safe. And actually, when they played against each other, both teams looked rather strong. Now, what did concern me is that people were saying that Hamer went off injured. It didn't sound like that it was a completely serious injury. I don't know if Hamer's definitely 100% fit and available for this game, but if he is, that is a very big boost for Coventry's chances here. Now, when they played against each other at the CBS, it ended 1-0 Coventry, but it's very easy to forget that Middlesbrough at that time still had Chris Wilder in charge. So I don't really think that counts, considering what these teams have done since Wilder left, and both of them, you know, managers at least with these two clubs involved with Manchester United, so there's that kind of friendly rivalry there as well to see which former Manchester United employee can outdo the other, which is very, very interesting as well. Middlesbrough have got great options in attack and all around the field. I think their loan signings of Ramsey and Archer coming in have made a real big difference here. And of course, their top goal scorer of the whole EFL, Akpom, could be a really important player going into this. But Coventry have their threat themselves, as I mentioned, with Hamer making things tick in the midfield. And of course, Gyökeres as well, where that Middlesbrough back line away from home recently has looked quite shaky, and Gyökeres could really fancy some really big chances here. But Coventry have been known to miss their chances when they needed to, and I feel like Coventry need a result here. I think if they go to Riverside without a win, it's going to be quite difficult for them, because I think Middlesbrough's home form is really good. So Coventry need to really set a really big message in this game, in my opinion. And for me, this is really close, but I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw in this game. I can't separate them. I don't have the balls to potentially edge one for a win in this one, so I think a draw would be quite realistic. I could even see potentially Coventry leading and then Middlesbrough fighting their way back into it, like literally what they did last week. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw within the Championship playoff game. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So that is my Championship playoff predictions done. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. We'll quickly go on to League One as well. Peterborough and Sheffield Wednesday, both teams were recently relegated from the Championship, of course. Peterborough last year, Sheffield Wednesday 2 years prior. So both know the logistics of trying to get back into the Championship, and both will be desperate to get back as well. Peterborough had a pretty up and down season, and it wasn't too consistent under McCann. Of course, they got Ferguson back, you know, for like the 3rd or 13th time he's returned to Peterborough, but there just seems to be a match that works. Like what we recently had with Nathan Jones at Luton when they reunited with their former clubs. There's just like a certain unity, and he knows what to do to get a tune out of that squad. And it's definitely a very decent squad. It's almost completely unchanged to the one that we saw when they were in the Championship. Sheffield Wednesday would definitely want to try and go up, considering that they got 96 points and they have to do a playoff campaign. It is so incredibly harsh, considering 96 points would have been far and away, you know, you getting promoted as champions last year. So it goes to show how high the standards have been this year. And I think with Sheffield Wednesday, they definitely have, for me, one of the best attacks in League One. The only thing that could let them down, what I've seen of them at times, is that there is like an odd mistake in them, and if they do not iron out those mistakes, especially at the back, it could leave them exposed. I think as a prediction here, it's quite tricky to predict this, and both teams have been in decent form, to be fair. Sheffield Wednesday obviously had to really try and match, you know, the form of Plymouth and Ipswich, who were just winning every single game they were having in front of them, and despite doing that, they only missed out on second place by 2 points in the end. So Sheffield Wednesday, whilst they had that rocky patch, they actually recovered their form quite well. Peterborough have been doing alright and picking up some great results. A 2-0 away victory to Barnsley is such a brilliant result for them. But a prediction here, I'm going to go for a 1-0 away victory to Sheffield Wednesday. I've got a sneaky feeling that it could be a set piece or something. And Sheffield Wednesday, when I saw them play against Ipswich, they were fantastic and dangerous when it came to set pieces. And I think that might prove to be the difference if Peterborough are not switched on in those areas. So I'll go 1-0 Sheffield Wednesday. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. The final game I'm going to predict is Bolton versus Barnsley. This is very interesting, this. So Bolton and Barnsley have had their pros and cons throughout the season. They've already met 3 times this season. So it's going to be another 2 occasions that they're going to meet, which will be 5 head-to-heads all season, which is crazy within itself. Bolton have been a team that have been going through pigs and troughs of form, but they really hit their good momentum at the right time, and that is probably why the bookies are edging Bolton slightly ahead of Barnsley going into this game. Barnsley, on the other hand, their form kind of dipped, but could you argue it's because they already knew that they had to settle for a playoff place? I would have expected them to really give Ipswich more of a fight. You know, maybe it's me discrediting Ipswich a little bit, but I thought had Barnsley won that game and they really would have just continued to show their form there, it would have been a really, really interesting Barnsley team. But what we saw with this Barnsley team going into that patch of form is that their away form was a little bit on the weaker side there. And then even with their home form, they started leaking in defeats against Ipswich. And then most recently, of course, as I mentioned, against Peterborough. So they really cannot afford to, if they do lose, let's say, against Bolton here, they can't leave themselves too much to do at their home ground as well, in my opinion. Both have got their threats, and both have got really, really dangerous players. And Barnsley, of course, recently relegated from the Championship. Bolton, who've been out of the Championship for over 4 years and had to go down to League 2 at one stage as well. You know, their rebuild has been brilliant. Ian Everett's done a terrific job, and Michael Duff for Barnsley, leaving Cheltenham, getting them promoted to League One and joining Barnsley, big step, and he's actually taken that step quite well, despite, you know, answering a couple of critics wrong within the first batch of games, because Barnsley didn't start that well, didn't they? But then they really, really started to improve, and they went on this unbeaten run. As a prediction here, this is really tough. I've got to really be honest. I can't really think of like an obvious scoreline here. So what I might do, I might play it safe and go for a draw. But no, you know what, in fact, let's make it interesting. I think this game will actually see some more goals compared to the other three that I've already predicted. I'm going to go 2-1 Bolton. I think it's going to be a tiny bit open. I think we could see Bolton have a pretty fast start, which they tend to do, Bolton, actually, in a lot of their games. Barnsley, I think, will slowly absorb Bolton like a sponge and then start weaving into them a little bit and starting to get some opportunities. But I'm going to go 2-1 Bolton. I think they may carry an advantage going into Oakwell in the second leg. Let me know, however, what you think of that in the comments down below. So guys, as you saw, these are the 4 predictions that I've broken down in detail at the start of the video. I've already predicted what I think would happen in terms of the first leg of League 2 and of course the National League playoff final between Notts County and Chesterfield as well. And of course I've included my Premier League predictions as well, as that is now starting to enter its final stretch of games as well. That'll wrap it up for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, please smash the like button. It really does help the growth of this channel. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. That helps as well. Please also share the channel too. All these things really do help me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if it's only the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.